Shalom. My name is Liz McGee, and I'm a Torah teacher with the electlife.org ministries. And I just have another inconvenient truth for Ephraim, which is really the biblical word for Christianity. And I want to talk on circumcision. It took me years. I'll tell you what, I consider myself a Bible researcher. It took me years to get to the level where I really think I understood it. And I do. And I want to impart something. So the question, is it physical? I mean, I can't get circumcised, people. So that's a problem. How do I, all right? Or, so what is, and then what the New Testament says about circumcision for the believer is different from how it would have to come down if you were born into a Jewish household. So how do we rectify all this? So what we really are talking about for today, depending on just like Paul said, wherever you find yourself, if you are coming from a Jewish household, Orthodox Jewish household, and you know the mitzvahs and you are fully cognizant and you need to get circumcised, your parents hopefully have been circumcised you on the 8th day and are obeying the Torah of Moshe on that level. I think it's pretty clear. But okay, so that's a physical act, but that's very difficult. Or how do we translate that into a saint who doesn't come from that people group and has no clue what's going on? It isn't really, I want to keep this really simple. So, and half of them aren't even male. All right, so how does this work? But there is this concept of called the circumcision of the heart. And we have faith from our heart, we're told. Confession comes from our heart. Obedience comes from our heart. The heart's a very important, let's say, organ in our whole spiritual life. So what is this circumcision of the heart? And this is what I'm told, and Christian, all of us, this is what we need to do. This is our mitzvah, okay, that is binding on us. And it is called a circumcision of the heart. And what it means is to take on the whole yoke of Torah. See, the circumcision on the physical body of the infant male is saying, the family is saying they're fulfilling the mitzvahs that they will teach righteousness to all their generations. So the parents are saying they're going to raise the kid in righteousness, and the child, as they grow up, will hopefully accept that yoke, all right, that they will live according to Torah righteousness. So how do we do that, all right? Because we're coming back into, first of all, Torah totally new. Like, what does this mean? I'm just put yourself as a first century, pagan coming into this, all right? So it says, just as this law with regard to actual circumcision is true, if you're Jewish, that's an outward sign, so that there has been an inner commitment of the heart. See, that's what it means. It just means that you've really done an outward sign. Well, I don't believe, this is my opinion, and I think I'm right, whatever. I'm not in it to be right, but just to have understanding. But it was, number one, it was illegal during the time of Rome to have, for Romans to be circumcised, to circumcise their babies or, even adult males or anything. It was illegal, highly. And so that's why it was such a big deal. And that was a big deal in the conversion groups, because what do we do? All right. So, but what we can do, what everyone can do, child, male or female, old, aged, young, we can circumcise our hearts. And it comes down to circumcising the desires of our heart. Now, which means to remove the insensitivity of our heart to the laws, the ordinances, statutes, the teachings of the Torah, right? So we're coming into a binding, this is our way when we circumcise our heart, and the Father sees this, he knows this, because, and then it'll play out in our actions to devote ourselves to allowing ourselves to be changed into his image and likeness by the precepts, the ordinances, the laws, the understandings, the ethical teachings that are in the Torah. Okay, because there's no other way to do it. Now, so the Jewish Brit covenant is different, but what is not different, and this is where Paul gets it from, is that it is just an outward sign of a much deeper commitment, which every Jew must do, and transit to every believer. We must circumcise our heart, which means that we must come under the yoke of what's called the kingdom of heaven. And what that is that is the life of responsibility. All right. The Torah, it's not, just a free lunch, credit, God gives us a credit card to get blessings, live any way we want and spend it however we want. That's not how it works. All right. So this is when and it's also, there's an imperative in it where Abraham was told to teach your children to do righteousness and justice in all the earth. If we do these things, we circumcise our own hearts and raise our children, the next generation, in the same level of Torah obedience, it's a winning formula. All right. And we will be different, and we will be lights, and we will transform. As we transform everything around us, everything gets lifted up. So this circumcision of the heart, because I know in a lot of circles, it's very argumentative, people, but it doesn't need to be, all right, at all. It's a really kind of a very simple understanding. And this is why Paul was like, he didn't have a lot of respect for it, actually, as a sign, of again, a sign of true conversion. Show me your actions, and then I'll know if you really got true faith. Don't tell me you have true faith and then live like however you want. It doesn't work that way. So I thought that was just a good straightening out of an inconvenient truth, so that we can all be circumcised, and we are all to be circumcised before the coming of Adonai. Shalom. I'll see you in the next video.